So I work with a lot of songwriters via my website and via the programs and courses that I offer. And I work with a lot of artists that are very diverse stylistically. In fact, this almost seems to be the norm. I more often than not, for whatever reason, writers that I work with tend to write and perform a lot of different styles. So I'm constantly asked this question of how to find your niche in the music licensing business. If you're doing a lot of different styles, if you're doing a little bit of everything, where do you start and what music do you present? How do you go about trying to get your music licensed when you're really diverse? So, during this section, I want to address how I found my niche within the music licensing business and how you can as well. So, when I first got started licensing my own music, at the time I was in a kind of a jammy rock band a la Fish, Dave Matthews Band, String Cheese Incident, and so on. So that was sort of my thing at the time. I'm still a fan of that genre of music, not as much so currently, but at that time I was heavily into that style of music. So I presented my eventual publisher with some of my jam band material, like 4 or 5 songs. I mailed her a CD. She responded back about a month later and said, I like what you're doing, but I really don't have a need for what you're doing stylistically. And again, this goes back to really researching the market, getting to know the marketplace, really figuring out what music is actually in demand. So at that point, I spent a little more time researching her publishing company and what music she was actually licensing, what styles of music she was actually licensing a lot, and discovered that she had a huge connection with soap operas. And she was one of the main suppliers for many years of a lot of the music that was being used in soap operas, like All My Children, The Young and the Restless, One Life to Live. So I went back to the studio. I went into the studio and I recorded, I don't remember, like 3 or 4 very accessible kind of John Mayer-esque rock pop songs. And I sent her some stuff. And this batch of music she was really receptive to, and she really loved the tracks. And one song in particular that she really liked and had a very specific idea of where to pitch it. And so I think part of finding your niche is dictated by who you're working with. And there isn't like a surefire formula for doing this other than, again, researching the market, researching who needs what styles of music, and submitting music and sort of getting a dialogue going. If you do a lot of different styles and you're not quite sure, what to focus on, I think the best thing you can do is submit your music to as many places that you think you're a good fit for as possible, and then find places that you really connect with and that you have sort of you have music to offer that fits what they're looking for and fits what their clients' needs are. So part of this is you just have to start making these connections. You have to research who's looking for music and submit your music on a regular basis. I strongly suggest that, again, you need to approach licensing your music intelligently. I don't think you should just randomly submit your music to anybody and everybody. But once you figure out who you're a potential good fit for, a lot of this is just about connecting with companies on a regular basis and then getting a dialogue going and finding out what their needs are and submitting music accordingly.